Hey guys, so what is CE-5 ET contact meditation, and can it really invite ships into our reality so we can see them for ourselves? Yes, very much so. This is what happened to me in 2008. This is what set me on my entire journey doing Dr. Stephen Greer's CE-5 meditation. So if you're one of these government bodies who are doing all these research into UFO phenomena now, like everyone's hearing it, the whole of the US government, NASA, the Senate, Congress, everyone's hearing into the UFO phenomena. And like guys, like you can bypass all this and just start doing CE-5 meditations, and the ships will come in themselves, and you can start having dream communications with the ETs. You can even communicate to them telepathically if you really set your focus on this and want to find the answers to this from directly for yourself, and you're coming from a heart-centered place of wanting to find the truth to help humanity. The ETs will approach you if you begin to set out these intents, and they will communicate with you telepathically, and it will blow your mind, and you could save your governmental body and your NASA organization many millions of pounds in research, and you can just get the answers just like that. So I see some UFO shaped clouds up here. They've appeared now, but just as I was about to make this video, just up here there was like total UFO shaped clouds, and no, they've gone now. It's a sign they could be around. Often the clouds appear like somehow it affects our consciousness. So somehow their consciousness affects the sky, and I think like the rotating ships seems to, many times when I've had sightings, I see these UFO shaped clouds appear in the sky. It's not so much that the clouds are the extraterrestrial ships. It could be that they're kind of cloaking the ships and they are behind them, possibly, but I think it's more like it affects the consciousness of the reality, and all the clouds just become more mystical and like more ET like. I'm sure the ships are around. Like I made a video earlier today, and this is like my third attempt to make a CE-5 meditation. I got a bit stressed because people were behind me and I felt uncomfortable. So yeah, it was CE-5 that started all this for me, and I will explain in a minute what the CE-5 is and how to do it so you can have your own experiences. It was CE-5 that started all this for me in 2008. I was doing the CE-5 meditation every night for around 5 weeks, 6 weeks, something like this, maybe even 7. I carried on doing it because it was making me feel blissful and peaceful, and I was seeing all these cool visions of like other dimensions and other realities and all amazing visions in my mind's eye, and I was like, whoa, this is cool. So I almost forgot that I was actually trying to make physical contact and invite the ships into my reality. But after about 5 or 6 weeks, I had a series of 3 UFO sightings, some very bizarre ones. Perhaps the most interesting one was when a golden ball of light was flying over my house. It actually sounded like the sound of a plane engine. Very strange. I don't know what's going on, but I said to it in my mind, I said, if you're a UFO, move up and down. And the second I did that, it went doof, and like turned on a dime and went it was going along like this, and it went just a doof, about 200 feet up in the air. I don't know what the distance was, but a very significant amount. It just went like that and moved along, came back down, turned on a dime, doof, back down like that, moved along. I think it went up again and then disappeared, reappeared. And I had another one a bit after that. I said there was a white light flying over the house from west to east, and it was being tracked by a military aircraft exactly paralleling it at the same speed. And then it went off into the distance, and after that, somewhere over there, because I'm back in Lincolnshire where I had these sightings originally, I saw like this green and red light. I think it was a green orb with a red outline, just kind of float up into the sky somewhere over there. And I grabbed my camera, but just as I pointed the camera at it, it disappeared typically. Although I have got them on my Facebook live stream from September 2018, if you look at my Facebook videos from that time. So I have video of them now. And it's only like flashing lights in the sky. It's not like flying saucer landing, and but it's very strange flashing patterns. It can't really be anything else if you know about satellites and phenomena and that. So yeah, but then after I saw this like strange green and red orb floating into the sky, a little while after that, like a military jet, I think it was an F-15 or maybe a Tornado, a UK Tornado. I don't know what it was. It might have been a US plane. It would look more like that, but it came flying directly over my house in the direction, or just in front of my house, in front of my window. I see it very clearly, just kind of up here. It got very low, very loud, with full afterburners on, and then a few minutes later later, another fighter jet flew over my house with full afterburners on at full thrust directly in the direction of where I saw this orb come up. And I've never before or since seen a plane with afterburners on. It's like so that's when they light up the exhaust and you see the fire coming out the back of the plane. So very interesting stuff. Yeah, so this is how it all started for me, and what you do if you want to do. I created my own version of the CE-5 meditation. So it was originally created by Dr. Stephen Greer of what was called the Disclosure Project back then. Now got a YouTube channel called Serious Disclosure, I believe. He's got a lot of stuff going on, working with the government to try and get I think he played a big part in creating these hearings where whistleblowers are allowed to speak to Congress and they're allowed to break their oath and without fear of repercussion, you know, their secrecy oath, and talk about what happened to them. So he's kind of created a safe container for all these military personnel that have seen all this happen to come forward. And now some of them are going a step further, like the guy, and they're actually speaking to the TV and that, and taking a bit of a risk, because I think the security oath doesn't cover like speaking to the public, so they're taking some big risks. But there's a guy talking about how the government had like a reverse engineering program and all this stuff. You may be seeing it, it's all over the news. If you're into this stuff and you know where to look, like just type on, I don't know, just it'll pop up in your feed synchronistically probably. So if you're into this, I'm sure you've seen it, a lot of these disclosure that's coming out. And so yeah, so it was Dr. Stephen Greer that I originally learned this from, but he wasn't sharing exactly how to do it, or at least I couldn't find back in 2008. So I was picking up bits and bobs from what he talked about in his talks and creating my own version. And what I would do is I would go into meditation. I looked up how to do a third eye meditation on YouTube, practice doing a third eye activation meditation, which would help you see visions and activate your pineal gland and release DMT, dimethyltryptamine, into your brain very naturally, because a lot of like hippies smoke it these days. I tried Changa, a similar version of DMT not in the jungle, but it comes from the jungle in Peru when I was in Peru. It's very powerful, but you don't need to smoke it or take it otherwise, because you can naturally release it in your brain by focusing on your third eye or your pineal gland in the center of your brain, which is technically your real third eye. It's not actually in your brow, as I understand. And you can use this to create to activate your third eye and begin to see these visions. And yeah, and so what you do is, I visualized, after doing the meditation, I would visualize a flying saucer, then I would visualize the face of an ET, and this connects you into their consciousness. I would visualize a grey extraterrestrial, and then I would do visualizations of the Milky Way galaxy, and then I'd visualize our solar system, then I'd visualize planet Earth, then I'd visualize the UK, then I'd visualize like Lincolnshire, like where I am now, where I was living at the time. Then I'd visualize Lincoln Cathedral, and then I'd visualize like a little dot on the map, like I live 4.5 miles southwest of Lincoln Cathedral. And so you're visualizing the ETs and the flying saucers to connect your consciousness to their reality. Then you're like zoning them in bit by bit by doing these. You're giving them a map. They call it coherent thought sequencing in the CE-5, and you're like directing them in. So first of all, you're connecting with their consciousness by visualizing a flying saucer and visualizing the image of the ET. This connects you into their consciousness, and then you're visualizing then you're like directing them in, you're guiding them in. You're like saying you're visualizing the Milky Way spiral, then you're visualizing our solar system, then you're visualizing planet Earth, then you're visualizing the country you live in, then you're visualizing some landmarks. I don't know if you can see it. There is Lincoln Cathedral on the horizon somewhere. Can you just see it around there? And so I would visualize that, and then I'd visualize like a little dot on the map saying I'm 3 miles southeast of Lincoln Cathedral. Then I visualize this big walnut tree behind my house, all along sending out the impulses. This is where I live, this is where I live, this is where I live. I wish to make contact. I did this every night for like 5, 6, 7 weeks, something like this, and then had this series of 3 UFO sightings, and my life was never the same again. So if you want to learn how to do this yourself, if you want to go deeper into it, I've got an ET contact training course coming up in July. Check out the link below. I'm going to be teaching like my version of what is sometimes called CE-5. I'm going to be teaching telepathic and communication and channeling. I'm going to be teaching connecting in the astral realm. I'm going to be teaching connecting in the dream state. I'm going to be teaching connecting in this dimension in meditation. I'm going to be teaching about the different dimensional realities that the ETs live in, so we can actually initiate what I call phase shift ET contact experiences where you actually go into their dimension of reality. And so yeah, so if you want to sign up for my ET contact training course, check out the link in the box below, guys, and join the course, and I shall see you in there. Peace, love, light and Shivai. I'll see you in another now, guys. Amen.